Welcome to Sensitive Success Stories with me, Frida Cabo, and today I have with me the wonderful Leanne Blaney. So in Sensitive Success Stories, we're talking to people that are doing things their own way and are really honing into what works for them with their HSP introverted, sensitive, intuitive side, and really look into what works for them. So I'm really excited to have Leanne Blaney with me today. And she is an award-winning author, a bucket list coach, and she has a podcast called The Ignite Your Life. Uh, she is your compass and assists you to create opportunities to give meaning to your chosen pathway of activity to set you up and self-manage. And she's an HSP and introverted. So welcome, Lane. Really happy to have you here.
Oh, thanks, Frida. I'm really excited about being here today to talk to you and let people know a little bit about me and the HSP side of things with bucket listing.
Yeah, perfect. And would you like to add something to my introduction or tell us a bit about how you got to where you are?
Yeah, I'd love to. I suppose I've been through life like many people, going on this path of doing what I was supposed to do, and then when I was just coming up to 40, I'm thinking, oh my God, is this really all there is? So I decided to look at myself, and I wasn't particularly healthy back then. So I started going, I need to get healthy. If I lose weight, that's going to change my life, isn't it? So that's what I kind of did. But then I learned along the way there was some mindset stuff going on, things that were holding me back, and then I started looking deeper and deeper into it. And that's when I found out about HSPs and being introverts and empaths and all that type of thing. And I thought, oh, maybe explains why I never feel like I belong. So then
Mm,
I thought, well, if I learned more about that, maybe I could help myself, then I could help others. And that's basically what I've done over the last 10 years, is gone through that journey myself, learned how to manage myself, learned how life is so much better once more about who you are and what you can do. And then I've been able to get to that extra step where now I bucket list, and people often say, oh, bucket list, when you die, isn't it? Or when you retire. I go, no, I'm living that bucket list life now. So that's how I've got to here. I went through all that, corporate job, government job, not enjoying life, not knowing what I was here for. And then finally I've got to this space where I'm actually really, really happy with life.
yeah, wonderful. I think a lot of us can relate to that story, and the question is this all there is? Like just, what's next?
It's a big
Just
one, isn't
about,
it? Because a lot of people
yeah.
can't answer that question, and you really do need to take time to find that out.
Yeah. And we call this series Sensitive Success Stories. So, what is success to you?
To me, I had to look at what success meant to me quite a few years ago, because everyone thought, being successful was the right job, the right amount of money, the right house, that type of thing. And it was always that end point. And then I come to the realization that no, success is actually that journey, is living that life every day how you want to live it, and really enjoying yourself. And it's not the destination, it's the journey. I know we hear that a lot, but it truly, to me, if you're living every day and enjoying every day and doing what you can for yourself and looking after yourself, to me, that's success. Whatever else comes, that's a bonus, and that's sort of outside of that. But I think success is really within.
Mm, yeah, I love that. I'm on the same note. So, so you've done a lot of things, like you've written a book, you have your podcast, you have all of these things on your journey. And is there one thing that really made you step into success in your way?
Yeah, I think it's all accumulation of a lot of things. It's not just the one thing, because I was able, once I sort of had that change in mindset about how to live my life and realize, more about, if I look after myself, being the HSP, look after myself, then I was actually thinking, oh, well, I can do so much more. And I've been able to step outside that comfort zone a lot more. And that's where I challenge myself. So the risk taking, and I don't mean like jumping out of a plane. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what I mean by taking a risk. It's more like I quit my job and I started my own business. I put myself out there. I've done public speaking. Now, I would have, 5 or 6 years ago, I would never have thought I would have done any of that. So to me, it's been an accumulation of things. So I'll do one thing. Oh, I can do that. Oh, I'll do the next thing. And you just keep taking those steps, and that keeps getting you outside the comfort zone, and you grow more as a person. And to me, that's helped me more than any that just one thing.
Mm. So what would you, if our listeners here, if they are standing on the the beginning of the path, like discovering, knowing they are at HSP since they are in this group, and probably feeling maybe they want to go forward to success in their way, what would you say to them, or what would be their first step?
Yeah, I really think it's getting that balance of knowing who you are and how to look after yourself first. Because I know quite often, and if you've got a lot of women in here and mothers and that, we all look after everyone else first. And being HSPs, you can get very drained of energy and, looking after everyone else, taking everyone else's emotions and energy in that. So I think the first step is really to learn about yourself, which is why I wrote my book Balance, because I found I needed a foundation to start. There's some wonderful programs and things to do out there, but I needed something just basic to get myself going. And that to me was going inside thinking, okay, let's do a little bit more digging. What's holding me back? What do I love to do? Because I used to say what I didn't want to do all the time, but really find out, what do you want to do? And when you start asking those questions, then you can think, oh, well, how am I going to do that? But really it is getting to know yourself first.
Mm. And if you give a really specific example or tips to how you get to know yourself, what would that be?
I think it's find out something that you love to do. Like I found out just by, exercising a bit more and realizing, I remember back at school, I loved doing my athletics and netball and all those team sports and that. So I thought, why am I not doing that anymore? So I went back and thought, well, what did I used to love to do? And how can I, have that in my life now? And that's where I do my running. And, I started off doing fun runs. I was doing like 5K and then 10K. And now this weekend, I'm doing my half marathon for the very first time. And that's something to tick off my bucket list as well. But it's having
Yeah.
that passion of something that's like a ritual that gets you keep going so that you've always got something to fall back on. So then you can start trying other things, but get that basis of something that you love to do and do it regularly, because I think that really makes a difference to start with.
Mm. Yeah. And how do you take the bucket list into this? What
So
does
to
the bucket
me,
list mean to you?
yeah, the bucket list thing was like, I called myself an adventure coach for a long time. And then I found out I could be a bucket list coach, which really excited me. But to me, it's just get that adventurous side out. It doesn't mean jumping out of a plane or bungee jumping or doing an ultra marathon or any of those things necessarily. I mean, if that's your thing, go for it. But it's, to me, it's living your life doing different things, having that little bit of an adventurous side. So I try different things all the time. And with the bucket list coaching, we have 12 categories. So we're not just doing conquer a fear or ultimate challenges. We're doing, who do you want to meet in your lifetime? It doesn't have to be a celebrity. So I work on doing, how can I meet people I like? And I've met Elizabeth Gilbert, which was just the most amazing thing ever on a retreat in Fiji, which, so it's just working on little things, big things, whatever you want to do every day. So I look at my bucket list every day and this is one of the few places you can go, I can copy, cheat, steal off other people and go, oh, I like what you're doing. I'm going to put that on my bucket list. So my bucket list is always changing. I'm always adding things to it. I'm trying to tick things off regularly. If it's a big thing like my half marathon, I make sure I know the steps to do it. Like I've been training for this for, 6-7 months now. So that's what I've been doing because it's a longer one. But there's some things I think I've always wanted to go do that, indoor skydiving. And so we just did it. I bought a friend, a ticket for their birthday. So that meant I was going as well. And so we went and did that. So it's just doing those things that you can regularly do and recognizing that it's not always about money. It's not always about the time, because everyone's got the same amount of time. You just got to prioritize yourself and work out what you want to do so that you're living that bucket list life most days and always having something to hope for, to look forward to, just like you do when you have a holiday. Everyone gets excited when I've got a holiday coming up in 12 months time and going, well, you could have that feeling every day. You just need to be always working on something, looking for things to do. What lessons can you take? What kindness can you give to others? There's all these things that you can have on a bucket list.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, because that's something I really realized, how much better I feel when I have something exciting planned.
And it's what
So,
as humans, we need something to look forward to dream for, to hope for, and when you've got that holiday, that's when people get excited. Well, it doesn't have to be just for that one thing once a year, maybe. It can be for so many things. And if you get yourself into that mindset, then you're always looking forward to something. Like I'm always looking forward to something. I've got all these things planned for next year already to do off my bucket list. And there's even things like I'm learning how to juggle. I mean, I'm a terrible juggler, but I've always wanted to juggle like people juggle the balls. So, you know, it's just something to do that's different, and then stretches you and just gives some time and effort to it. It makes, you know, a lot more joy inside you, I think.
Yeah, cool. And if I have understood correct, you realized you're HSP, highly sensitive person, quite not too long ago?
No, it's probably, you know, I sort of started looking into it about 9-10 years ago, but I didn't really get to name it until probably about 5 years ago. And even then, I wasn't so much looking at it, what it really meant. I was just sort of thinking, well, how do I need to look after myself? So I was sort of coming from the way of, you know I get overwhelmed when I go to great big, noisy groups of people, you know, having parties and things. I don't enjoy it. So I just worked out ways that I can get through these things. Like even like being a coach, doing what we do, you have to sometimes do workshops and they can be really draining. So knowing that the next day I had to look after myself. So I just learned through that. And then as I learned more and more, and people like you and a few other contacts I've had now are really expanding what I know about HSP.
So what would you say was the biggest difference when you really embraced that and realized that?
I think the biggest difference is when you realize that is that you do belong somewhere, that you're not abnormal, that you are actually normal. Because quite often you think, I just don't, you know, don't know what's wrong with me. And you're always thinking, how do I fix it? Well, we don't need fixing. It's about how do we manage it? How do we look after ourselves? And when I started realizing that, you know, I was able to do so much more because I'm constantly being aware of my energy, listening to my body, knowing how to protect myself when I'm around all that negative energy, because, you know, I do take on other people's emotions. I've always seemed to have done that. And I could never work out why do I feel so bad coming out of certain meetings and things like that. But now I know how to protect myself a lot more. So I think just learning about what works for you, you know, and I know it's probably an individual thing because we've all got different extremes of being HSP, the different parts of it affect us more than others. It's just knowing what works for you and being constantly aware of that.
Yeah. Definitely. So important. And how do you see, as I talk about a lot, sensitivity as your superpower?
I think it really is a sense of like a superpower, because sensitivity is, it doesn't mean that you have to take on everything and then really drain yourself. It means that you can just be aware of what's going on in the environment. You can be better for your clients, you know, because you can just know what they're feeling. It's just learning how not to take that on yourself. So I think you're more empathetic, you're more aware of what people are thinking, doing, and just in general, like to me, one of the biggest things about HSPs is that I'm very much an animal advocate. I can't stand anything cruel being happened to animals. I don't like animals and racing, that type of thing. So to me, it's something that I'm using now, that now I know why I feel that way when I hear a sad story about an animal, that I can actually use that for good rather than just retreating back into that shell.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. And I'm going to try to keep this to 20 minutes, but is there anything else that you would like to say to the group, to people
I think it's
on the journey?
Yeah, the main thing is to just start looking at yourself and take the small steps. Don't think it's a big, huge thing, and that, you know, we all belong somewhere, and that there's lots of people out there to help. So if they need any, you know, tips on, you know, how to look after themselves now that they know they're a HSP, and it's just talk about it, because the more we talk about it, the more other people are aware of, you know, how we feel and how we have to look after ourselves as well.
Yeah. And if they want to know more about you, where can they easily find you?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Adventure School with Leanne, or really you can just go to my website, leanneblaney.com, and it has all my details and it has my podcast links and all that type of thing as well.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your journey and your wisdom. I'm really happy to have you as our guest. So if you have any questions, Leanne is in the group as well, so you can just write them in the comments and share with us your biggest takeaway from this conversation. We would love to hear that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Thanks, Frida.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.